Hey guys, Dr. Ben here, F8 Well Centers. I'm excited to talk today about this topic because it is something that we get to do every single day with patients, and it's something that you can start doing at home, something that you can move your feet on to get your health back, to reverse almost any illness out there. This is what we do day in and day out with patients all over the world. So stick with us. Get your pen and paper out because I'm going to be giving you some specific things, some specific blood work markers, specific ranges, things that you need to know, you need to do today to start doing this. So health is one of those things that it can be elusive for a lot of people, and it can be something that we're always striving to get to, and some people just seem like they're always on the sick side, and they've got this condition and that condition, their thyroid's off and they're inflamed and all these different things. But I'm going to show you guys it doesn't matter what condition it is, and this is our philosophy here at F8, is that the body is designed to be healthy. The body is designed to thrive. The body is designed to function optimally, and for you to go out and do your work and move and run and chase deer and hunt and gather and all those things. And yet, because of what we've done to our bodies, what we've done to our environment with chemical exposures, with hormone disruptors, all these different things, we're getting massive changes in our health. So here are some things that you guys can start doing right now to start seeing some massive changes. So pop down below where you guys are watching from. Love to see you guys all over the country, all over the world. Lots of information in our YouTube channel. And Brittany just popped that up there. If you are not subscribed to the YouTube channel, we've got hundreds and hundreds of videos, all types of different things. You can search individual topics. If you have not liked or followed this page yet on Facebook, go ahead and do that. Just like Marcy there, good to see you, Marcy, and Kimberly in Florida, good to see you guys. So here we go, let's get into it. So these are the top 3 things that when I sat down, I thought about, okay, what if we could do these things with every single person, what would it be? What would be the biggest game-changing events in somebody's life, to whether they've got autoimmune, gut issues, they've got inflammation, whatever it is. Hey, Felicia there in Texas. So first thing that you need to do, and get your pen and paper out because I'm going to give you some specific markers that you need to be testing. You need to get your blood work done, and you need to do an extensive blood panel, not just that routine panel, checking your CBCs and your cholesterol and some basics. You need to do this extensive and look at a bunch of different markers. So here's some of my favorite markers that most people are not testing. So write these down. You need to be running your CRP, your C-reactive protein. So just write down CRP, and the next time you get your blood work done, you go to your doctor and you say, hey, I want you to add these things in. And if they don't, find another doctor that will, because these are crucial markers there. Hey, Robin up in Wyoming, good to see you. So C-reactive protein, homocysteine are the 2 big inflammatory markers that I love to run on everybody. Whether you're a 5-year-old kid or an 85-year-old grandma, it doesn't matter. You need to run C-reactive protein and homocysteine. Those are both telling us about inflammatory processes in the body. Not just like, ooh, my fingers are inflamed, but it could be cardiovascular, it could be brain, lots of different areas in the body that you can get this type of inflammation. Hey, Gloria, good to see you. And so, Lori, insurance won't cover a lot of it, and that's one of the challenges with blood work. That's why we have it set up through a cash lab, where for a couple $100, you can run all of these blood panels I'm going to be talking about, because unfortunately, this is a lot of doctors are handcuffed, and they're like, hey, I'd love to see these inflammatory markers, I'd love to see autoimmune markers, but insurance won't cover it, and then they get in trouble, and the HR department's calling them and go, doc, you can't request that, because then the patient comes back and they just had to write a $500 check for these vitamin D and all these things. So yes, Lori, we do these blood works, and we can actually drop ship it anywhere in the country for a couple $100. So absolutely, we're able to do that. So you need to run your C-reactive C-reactive protein, your homocysteine inflammatory markers. I love to look at autoimmune markers as well. The two big ones that I look at are rheumatoid factor, telling us about rheumatoid arthritis, and ANA. ANA tells us about lupus, Sjogren's, a bunch of different things. Hey, Rochelle, up there in Alaska, Dr. Jake, my partner here in Fort Collins, he used to live in Alaska, and it's all cloudy out today, and he's like, oh, it's like being home. So you need to run your ANA and your rheumatoid factor. We see probably 25% of our patients come in with one of these autoimmune markers, and most of those people had no idea that they had an autoimmune condition. It's that rampant. You need to run your ferritin. A lot of people run iron, but they don't run ferritin. Ferritin is your stored iron. Make sure that you're getting your ferritin. For women, you want that between 40 and 125, and men 40 and 150. So you guys, if you have these blood work markers at home, write these numbers down and check and see where yours are. If you're low in ferritin, you've got leaky gut, malabsorption, things like that. If you're high, it's an inflammatory, blood sugar, liver, C-reactive protein, all of these different things. So ferritin, CRP, homocysteine, your autoimmune markers, your ANA, and your rheumatoid factor. You need to look at that full liver panel with AST, ALT, and then add in GGT. This is one. It's as cheap as all get out. It's probably $1 to run the test, and yet it tells us about fatty liver. We see GGT high all the time in patients. So you've got to run your GGT. You've got to run a complete thyroid panel, including your Hashimoto's markers. If you're not testing Hashimoto's, or if you haven't in the past, you need to do that now. That's the TPO and the thyroglobulin antibodies. Remember, how many types of Hashimoto's are there? There's 2 types of Hashimoto's, so you have to test both of those markers to see what is going on there. You need to run then the complete thyroid with both total and free T3 and T4 to see what's going on in there. You need to run your hormone tests as well. You need to run your estrogens and your testosterone and your adrenal hormones, all of these different things. If you run these, you're going to know so much information, and you're going to be able to figure out which systems are out of balance, and then you can move your feet and go through system by system by system. You cannot just throw 20 pills at somebody and go, hey, you're going to be fine now. We've got to go very regimented, very systematic at this process to get it dialed in, to get that body where it needs to be. So step number 1, you need to get that in-depth blood work done at least annually. And then if you're doing work, and if you're working on systems and liver and leaky gut and inflammation and thyroid, all these things, you need to get it done every 3 months for at least 2 more visits. And that's what we do with our patients. So we'll do it on day 1, we'll do it on month 3, and then on month 6. And we're constantly moving and shifting and modifying depending on how the body is changing in there. Brandy, is there a test to see if there's mitochondrial damage? So there's multiple things that we look for, but in the blood work, one of the simple ones that you look for is carbon dioxide, CO2. It's found in a routine blood panel, but if your CO2 is less than, I'm going to say 22 is a cutoff there. If it's less than 22, you're probably not making enough ATP. The mitochondria is what takes in oxygen and glucose and turns it into energy, which is ATP, and CO2 as a waste product. If you don't have enough CO2, you're probably not making enough ATP, not making enough energy as well. So CO2 is one of the simplest, easiest ways to see if somebody's mitochondria is working like it needs to. Allison said, how much do you charge for all these tests? Spend a ton of money at a functional medicine doctor. I can't do that again. I think I have Hashimoto's. So Allison, the great part is it's about $250 for this entire blood kit, and it can be drop shipped anywhere in the country. Or Allison, you live in Colorado, sure. So we are in Fort Collins, and then we're in Highlands Ranch outside of Denver as well in Colorado. So you could even come into the office for that as well. Brandy, good to see you, and you too, Sherry. So step Step number one, you've got to get that in-depth blood panel done. And if you don't know, you won't know. So you've got to get it figured out. Step number two, if everybody could do this in the country, we would reverse and prevent 90% of chronic conditions. I'm 100% convinced of that. And that is stabilizing your blood sugar. Write this down. You want to be between 85 and 110 all day long. And if you don't know what your blood sugar is, you've got to test it and you've got to check. The easiest way to do that is a finger prick glucose monitor. You can do that 5, 10, 15 times a day, and we did that for years and years and years with patients. Now we use a continuous glucose monitor where you put the patch on your arm or your abdomen, and you're able to see every 5 minutes it shoots over to your phone and tells you exactly where that blood sugar is. So what we're looking at here is if you have that blood sugar out of balance, if it's going up too high, it's going to create this inflammatory process. Your insulin is going to spike up. That's what's going to cause you to hold on to body fat. That's what's going to cause inflammation in your cardiovascular system, going to cause damage in your brain and your nerve cells. If it goes down too low, that's going to rev up this whole immune cascade. It's going to stimulate the adrenals to tell the liver to kick out glucose. So then every time that blood sugar goes too low, adrenals, it's going to be this chronic fight or flight state. People get random anxiety. All these things happen. If we can stabilize that blood sugar, and if you know exactly what to do with that blood sugar, and the gold standard right now is the continuous glucose monitor. If you've not seen these, Google continuous glucose monitor. It's amazing what we're able to see. Every one of our new patients goes home with a continuous glucose monitor. Why? Because it is game changing. I've talked to multiple people already this week that have said, "Oh my gosh, that I'm gonna get another 3-month supply of CGM because it's just such a phenomenal change." One lady, she dropped her A1C an entire point from 7.5 to 6.5, and she's sedentary. She's almost wheelchair bound, and yet she's able to do that just by learning what to do with that blood sugar. If you don't have access to a CGM, then you can go on Amazon and get a $40 finger prick glucose monitor and start testing yourself multiple times a day. We've done it for years with patients. So if everybody stabilized their blood sugar and kept it at about a 20 to 25 point window, but especially between that 85 and 110, and if you go over 110 with a food, you probably shouldn't be eating that, or you ate too much of it. And so start now, get that blood work done, and then get that blood sugar stabilized as much as possible there. So those are the first 2 steps. And then number 3 is probably the hardest out of all of these. And what we look at is we need to change our mindset. So if you or a loved one, anybody is sick, they're not well, they're unhealthy, they have autoimmune, whatever it is, you need to change your mindset. Very few people are truly sick, depleted, beat down, and have a perfect mindset of, I'm positive, I know this is going to change, I'm sitting down, quiet in my mind, focusing on the body healing, thinking positive thoughts. Again, it's the one thing that we truly can control. Ultimately, whether our blood sugar gets 100% stabilized or that inflammation goes down, any of those things, some of that is out of our control. But what's going on between our ears is the one thing that we truly have control over. Sometimes it doesn't feel like it, right? You guys are like, oh my God, that's easy for you to say. But if you think about it, that's the one thing that we can do, is we can control those thoughts, and we can say, hey, I'm not going to have that negative thought. I'm going to flip it. I call it the flip it, where I flip it from a negative to a positive. And that what if of, oh my gosh, what if I don't ever get better, to what's going to happen when I do get better? What am I going to be able to do? Putting yourself in that state, putting yourself in that positivity place of, you know what, my body can heal. I know that people can heal. I know I'm moving my feet in the right direction. I know that if you commune with God and have your time alone with God, I know that I'm doing the right things. I'm praying and being honorable that way, or whatever you're doing on that spiritual side, has to be in alignment with your true healing. So the three things, if everybody could do, would be to get that blood work done in depth as much as possible. Look at all those different things out of balance. Stabilize your blood sugar, number 2. And then number 3, change your mindset. You've got to come from that place that you have the ability to heal inside of you. It's not one more supplement. It's not one more doctor, one more drug, one more surgery. It is inside of you. You have that ability to heal. It's called innate intelligence. It's what got your arms to be the same length as you grew. It's what it helps your hair come back when you cut it, or when you hurt your arm, it'll actually heal. There's this healing power inside of you, and that is your fate, is to be healthy. So do these things now, make the changes, and you can see a phenomenal shift. Michelle, so looking forward to you on the 6th as well. Melody said, I want to take melatonin for sleep, but it raises my glucose. How can I balance it? When it spikes, I'm on the repair diet. So Melody, yeah, if melatonin spikes that, and if that's the only thing that you've tried, reach out. We've got a spray that has a very small amount of melatonin and some other things, like minimal amount, that I'm guessing a couple sprays of that is not going to spike that blood sugar, and it's going to help you on that sleep side as well. If you need to, you could have a little bit of turkey breast, a little bit of cheese on that diet, but a little bit of turkey breast, maybe some avocado. You can do apple and almond butter, something along those lines to keep that blood sugar stabilized in there. So, all right, guys, I'm excited. You're gonna be able to take massive action. Your bodies can heal. Move your feet. Get your body healing. So take care, everybody.